8 o'clock or so, or something. I always set my clock wrong, so I'd have an excuse to be late for things. When I wanted to know the right time, I looked at the clock on the electric cooker in the kitchen. But when the electricity went off because we never paid the bill and didn't come on again until we did, I had to set the cooker clock by the clock in the bedroom, which was wrong anyway. So I was supposed to be at Holborn at 7:30 to wait in this catering agency office to get a job for the day. Early bird gets the worms job. But I set the alarm late on the clock that was wrong anyway, slow or fast, because I knew very well I wasn't going to get up and be somewhere else at that time in the morning. So I roll over, go back to sleep, telling myself that it's too late, even to phone, and there probably aren't any jobs anyway today. So about 11, same thing happens. I wake up. At 11, they told me there was a shift change at the hospital kitchens, and if someone hadn't turned up, there'd be a job going. I've been trying to do this for about a week from day to day, but it hadn't worked out, and I was having trouble believing I wasn't happy about it. Anyway, I sleepwalked to the phone on the edge of the estate and called the office. They promised me something at the sinks for tomorrow. Lucky me. From the phone box, which wasn't really a box at all, more like a giant masonry nail stuck in the street with a phone hanging off it. From there, I walked through the estate, by a Guardian because it was Monday, and a bottle of lemon Perrier because I like it, and I go home. That summer past, I was a pioneer of the no-calorie diet. All I would consume all day was 3 bottles of lemon-flavoured Perrier and 20 Camels. Oh, gin. Drinking the water back in my flat, I remember wildly how it felt to belong somewhere where you could just meet your friends by accident and end up drunk on the off chance. I put the TV on because I can't face looking in the paper for a job just yet. There's nothing on. Duh. My eyes move around the room looking for something to light on which isn't a media sales advert. A couple of circuits confirm I'm bored, which I knew before setting out. I pick up the newspaper because I'm really just scared of washing up for the rest of my life. Professionally, that is. I had no intention of bringing my work home. There were adverts for get up and go ahead graduate self-starters, vocational dedicatees, supra motivated envelope pushers of people I had never suspected were real. The ads used phrases like progressive position, competitive package, vast prospects. It sounded like a porn star's covering letter. I wondered briefly if this could be a spoof job advert page. Who are these people, and how can we stop them? There were adverts for jobs I didn't even understand the title to. Words like remuneration and future, which I know they didn't mean me. Adverts for jobs in companies that did things that if you explained them to me, my eyes would just glaze over. Twice if it was a double glazing company. All these job adverts, and behind them hundreds of other jobs already filled by people writing adverts for people looking for jobs. What for? Who thinks of all these jobs? And who wants one of them? I wonder how different people can be from each other and still be the same thing. Like a Chihuahua and a Great Dane, both dogs but hardly related. People with jobs and ambition and suits and things. What were they? Hadn't they got anything else to do? Like nothing, for example. What is it about activity that is so compulsive? I'm lazy and proud of it. It's no idle boast. Actually, it is, isn't it? It's an idler's boast. With relief, I reach the secretarial columns, the last category. I know I can't be a secretary, so I can shut the paper and light a cigarette instead. I go to my drawer, which used to be filled with bits of philosophy paper, but I gave them all to Isabel because she took a year off to climb something or something. And now all that's in it is job adverts I'd cut out but not answered yet. I've sorted these out into ones I can ring and ones I have to write to, and put the letter ones back because enough's enough for one day. I grab some change because I have about as many notes as silence written out as music, and head back to the gibbet phone. I call the first number. Some woman tells me to get a CV in the post by tomorrow or I've had it. I know I'd had it long before tomorrow ever came up as a concept. And typing out a CV, photocopying it, where, and getting it in the post that quick was about as likely as, well, itself, to be honest. I call the next number a week late. It's gone. I cross it out with relief. I can't help it if they didn't keep it open long enough for me to apply. The next one is for something called a trainee buyer stroke planner. How do you buy a trainee or planner stroke? Is it something to do with euthanasia? I thought. Are they selling that now as well? I call it up anyway. The guy asked me, after calling me by my first name twice, which I thought was a bit familiar, he asked me how old I am. I tell him, what? How come I'm so old? I gasp a little. This guy's very forward with the questions so far. I want to say something about my mother going into labour some years ago, and that was about it as far as options were concerned. He asked me what I've been doing since, not meaning school trips and sitting in bars, I'm guessing. I mumble stuff about a degree, writing. Did I get it published? Yeah, I'm Joseph Conrad and I need some Shaw money. Did he really think I'd be ringing him up if I had my novel published? And what's a buyer-stroke planner, anyway? Well, he says, the first thing he's looking for in a potential employee is dedication to advertising. And if I don't know what a buyer-stroke planner is, I'm probably not advertising material. I was sneering at my lips and wagging my head from side to side as he reels this one off at me, wondering if advertising material qualified as a non sequitur. Do I, he said, do I read? And here he names 3 advertising trade magazines, which, of course, anybody who doesn't write for them doesn't read them. No, I said. But do they have articles where the adverts usually go? This goes, predictably, over his head. Have I considered media sales? Let me think. Only as a form of torture. The pips go. I throw more money in to follow the bad money I stuffed in earlier. Creative sales, he's saying. Could be right up your line. Up my line? Up yours. Anyway, sales isn't creative, I tell him, and 5 minutes pass before we can agree what creative means. In the end, I get him to admit that it means when you actually create something rather than when you sell some schmuck an empty bit of newspaper space. I feel that I'm not going to get the job somehow at this point, and I leave him with some advice to read up on Wittgenstein and surface grammar hallucination and hang up. I have no idea if this phrase even exists, by the way, but what the hell. I write puke all across that advert and call a couple of agencies, but there's nothing happening there either. When I let myself back into the flat, Daniel and one of his weird friends, I can't remember, are in his room pretending they don't exist or something and playing what he says is music. I knocked on his door. Dan, are you there? No answer. Dan! Dan! Daniel! Dan! Dan! The music was suddenly turned down, and I got the feeling they were holding their breath in the room. I knocked again. Still no answer. I sighed. This was too much. I figured they'd taken some more acid and forgotten about the rest of the species. I turned away, turned back again. I lowered the tone and raised the volume of my voice. I am the evil that lurks. I am purple, wet and crabby. I have a TV instead of a head and burning whips of blood for arms. I just got back from your dreadful future where I was beheading your unborn children with swords made from your shin bones. I fucked dead Jews in the holes in the back of their necks where the Nazis shot them. When I come, my poison devilism spurts through their eye sockets like stinking black rice pudding. Do you want anything from the shops? I go back to typing a huge master's thesis submission that's taken me a month to screw up this much. I was sick of it. It was boring to write, to read, to type. I go into the kitchen and break my non-existent diet and make half a loaf of bread into peanut butter and Marmite sandwiches and open a can of 2% beer. I like keeping beer in the fridge all the time. It makes me feel American. Time passes. I type. I smoke. I watch TV. I am.